Hi Adams, happy Wednesday. We are going to talk about the immigrants' journey to America today. That was very difficult at times, and we're really going to get into the perspective of what these people felt and what they were going through during this time. All right. So preparing to leave. Think about having to just leave your home that you've spent your entire life at and go to a brand new country where people speak different languages and you've never been there before. So it was a very hard decision to leave. And some things that made that harder were that families were often separated. Some had to leave relatives behind. Remember, this was an expensive trip. Many people didn't have enough money to have their whole family come over. And sometimes, actually very often, a man would leave his family to come to America, and then once he made enough money, he would have his family come live with him. So they also had to think about what they were going to bring. The trip was expensive, so many of the immigrants actually sold their things to afford the trip. They packed what they could in bags, and they wore lots of layers on their bodies so that they would have more clothes that they wouldn't have to pack. So I want you to think about what things would you pack. Remember, it's a very long, uncomfortable trip. So would you rather have a blanket, pillows to stay comfortable over that trip? Or would you rather have important clothes or photographs or anything that you could bring with you to remember your old home life? And what would you leave behind? What would you sell? What would you leave and never see again? So this was very tough for them to have to go through their things and decide what was important and what they didn't need any longer. So remember we talked about how there were different classes in the steamships that they traveled across the ocean in. The third class ticket, which was the least expensive one, that one was in a place of the ship called steerage. And the steerage is at the very bottom of the ship. It's very dark, it's very cramped, and there were hundreds of people that were crowded in this very small area. It was lined with these really narrow beds that you see in this picture down here. And it also became very dirty and smelly because they were on here for weeks. So over time, so many people in such a small area, it became very, very uncomfortable. And it also wasn't very safe. Remember, this is the 1900s. Ships were not as strong and well built as they are today. So there were often storms that led to shipwrecks, lots of illness. Think about look at this picture, how close these people are. Illness was spread very quickly because there were so many people in such a small space. People got seasick, and there was only one doctor aboard the entire ship for these hundreds of people. So, was it worth it is often a question that gets brought up here. And clearly the answer is yes. Their life at home was clearly so bad that they felt that this trip was worth it to get to somewhere better where they could have a better life. Once they got to New York City, this right here is a picture of these passengers all lined up on the deck as they're seeing the first glimpse of the Statue of Liberty. So they felt a lot of different emotions. They felt relief because they'd finally made it. They felt excited, but they also felt worry. So think about, why would they be worried? First of all, a lot of them don't speak English. They're going into a brand new country where many people speak a language they don't know. They don't even know if they're going to be allowed in. Remember, many got sent home, so they might be nervous about that. They might be nervous about their family. Might be nervous about finding a job, about finding a place to live. So lots of different emotions happening for these people. So remember, those first and second class people, they had a doctor come aboard the ship, and if they were good to go, they could go right into the city. Whereas those third class steerage passengers, they had to go to Ellis Island before they could enter America. So they had kind of an extra step that they had to follow. All right. Number one, I want you to name one reason why it was a hard decision for immigrants to leave their home country. Number two, what did some immigrants have to do to afford their ticket? Number 3, true or false? Immigrants could bring as much stuff as they wanted to America. Number 4, which description best describes steerage? That was number 4. Number 5, explain one reason the trip to America wasn't always safe. And number 6, what is one reason immigrants might feel nervous as they arrive in New York City? Remember, use the slideshow, get on Zoom. We miss you. We can't wait to see you again. Stay healthy and stay safe. Bye, Adams.